this is going to be the first, and possibly last, episode of our introductory, first time ever episode of the Retcon-ing. It's also a Valentine's Day at the time of recording, so this is our first ever Valentine's special. Alright, I am James, and with me today is Nick, and we are going to talk about the gaming industry because it's not like anyone else is doing it.
Yeah, it's not the millions of others on YouTube cover the exact same subjects we're going to cover, but maybe a slight different swing to it.
It's ultimately my goal to try to put our opinions in here, our ideas on where we think things are going, and it's just a personal spin, as if anyone cared what we thought, but we'll see. So, anyway, lots been going on this week. I do apologize, I am fighting a cold right now. So, perfect time to be starting a show. Alright, so, Nick, this week's lots of crap has happened in the AAA gaming industry. Oh, what would be your take on it?
Well, it seems that everything has turned on its head.
Yeah.
Agencies we've always known as being the worst things ever are now better than the ones we've always had praise for. Why is Activision doing bad? Activision Blizzard. Whereas EA...
I just call them Activision anymore.
Good.
No Blizzard, no Activision Blizzard, just Activision, but go ahead.
I'm going to use Activision Blizzard, run it through, just trash those names. They killed themselves with this.
I know. Yeah, it seems like the entire, everything is just kind of turned on its head in ways I don't think anyone had expected. I mean, we all thought that it was pretty much set in stone. I know a lot of people have talked about how they want to, I hope the AAA gaming industry crashes. I don't think it's going to completely crash. I think we're going to lose parts of it. And just some recent developments tell me that I think it's going to go differently than I think a lot of us had expected.
Yeah, I don't know. I really do think it's a bubble that is, as many others have said, is bursting right now.
Yeah.
With just the chaos in the industry and just the horrible choices being made.
Yeah.
I mean,
It drives me crazy, and I mean, like, we've talked about, you and me and Nick, we've talked about this at length for a long time, about our thoughts and opinions on this, and that's really what's driving us to even just start a show at all in such a saturated market. It's because we spend so much time talking about this industry and how crazy it gets, and that, it's like we just kind of want to put our thoughts out there as well. Honestly, we look at where the different companies are positioning themselves right now, where they're hedging their bets. EA right now, they just got a godsend in the form of Apex Legends. I mean, as their biggest developer, BioWare, is probably not going to do as well as they want. I mean, yes, Anthem is probably going to do well, at least in the beginning, but ultimately it's not going to do as well as they need it to, because nothing ever can. And as you said, it's because of this bubble, they keep promising investors more and more money. Oh, we'll make more. And it's just not realistic, because, investors found out, hey, the video game industry can be profitable. How much can we milk from them? And it's like, this is the stress test. The bubble is a stress test. There was a .com bubble, and it hit a stress test, and then it normalized, and now people kind of know what to expect from those companies. And right now, these game companies, these AAA companies, I don't think they realize they're basically guinea pigs for investors right now.
Guinea pigs, I don't know. I think they thought too much of themselves, and now they're seeing that, no, this is probably not a good idea. To go back a little bit,
yeah,
it is that the game industry no longer, for the most part, makes games for players. These are games for shareholders. These are people that go, money, all the money. Not enough money? Give me more money.
Yeah.
Not, this is a good game, let's make this. No. How much money can we get for this game?
And I've me and Nick have talked about this numerous times before, that the big part of the gaming industry, or the big part of, I guess in the investing, is that, the investors are getting into it to make money, okay? They're giving these game companies money to make games so that they can make more money off of said games. It's kind of this it's kind of this extra, or it can be very helpful in certain industries, but I feel like, and I've talked about this before, entertainment industries, it's not a good place to be. It's a bad fit
You
because
can. It is actually
yeah.
the entertainment industry is a great thing to be in
Well,
if you can actually
mhm.
succeed in it.
Well, so the problem is that as I've and I'll go over this. I feel like the entertainment industry desperately requires, um, constant innovation, constant change. And the more an industry requires innovation, the less compatible I feel it is with the stock market. Because when people are investing their money, they're already taking a risk. And so when they get their money into that company, they want that company to take as few risks as possible and more surefire bets, which is why all the movies and music you consume out there, it's why it all sounds the same, because it has to
They,
sound the same. It's not
they want no risk.
yeah.
They want no risk, but
hmm
always to expand and always to
Yeah.
get more money.
When EA said a few years ago, "Oh, multiplayer is the way of the future," they were saying that to investors, and they were trying to convince their audience that that was the truth too, because multiplayer was where the most money was. And now they're saying mobile is the future, and they're trying to convince gamers of this because they're telling their, that's what they're telling their investors. Um,
But
and as it, yeah,
at the same time, they will go out and say that because the players asked for a single player, we gave them a single player. They didn't like the single player, so we failed our 1 million short of the 8 million. Talking about EA, of course, as you all know. We wanted 8 million, but we only got 7 million, and all because of single player.
yeah,
It's all single player's fault.
well, yeah, yeah. See, they gotta blame something, and it can't be them, because if they blame themselves, their stock market trashes again, and that's something EA couldn't take. EA took a hit right before their announcement, and it's like Activision took one too, and I was
Well,
like,
they
oh
attacked the
crap.
players.
Yeah, I was like, oh crap. Like, could Activision get a double whammy here? Like, because that was before Activision had put out their fourth quarter earnings. Oh,
Every time you attack the player base, you're going to get backlash.
yeah. See, I mean, it doesn't matter to me whether you think about what you think about the controversy of the whole, the signal player in call no in Battlefield and all that stuff that had a woman in it. I leave me alone with that. It doesn't matter to me whether you
That's
think it was right
fine.
or wrong. The problem is that where the real issue was, um, they EA decided to respond to the people that were trolling. I mean,
No, no. What happened was, all right.
they
There's a few.
responded in the worst way possible, is what I was trying to
They did.
say. Yeah,
They did, but they took up a game. They said Battlefield. Instantly, everyone's thinking Battlefield. We've been playing
yeah,
these games for years.
yeah,
And they say we're going to make World War II game again. Like, okay, cool. Battlefield, World War II.
yeah.
Let's go.
They did great with World
Then,
War One, so why not? Yeah,
yeah. Then they said, okay, we're gonna make it as realistic as possible. All right, cool.
yeah,
Go for it. That's
yeah.
great. We're gonna put a cyborg, colored hair, amputee, transgender person in. Like,
Well,
what?
yeah.
No, see, I don't care if it's a female,
No,
but they
no.
weren't prevalent. I
See,
don't care if they're handicapable or
yeah,
have a lost arm or leg. That was the thing, but they weren't in front lines.
yeah,
I don't care if they had colored hair.
yeah.
Actually,
And
yes, I do care. It wasn't a thing at the time.
yeah, and they took an actual story from World War Two and they changed the players out, and so they could make it look more diverse. And the thing is,
It's
and
actually worse than that. Did you read? Did you see that whole thing?
I know some of it. The the basic problem here was, and like I said, and I know that not everybody who was against it was a troll. It's just the trolls are always the loudest. They're always the ones that get the most signal boosting. Um, and again, if you had a problem with this, that's fine. If you didn't have a problem with it, that's fine. Where the real problem is they should not, is that they shouldn't have said, "Oh, if you don't like it, don't buy it."
That's one thing.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
other thing is they changed. They were trying to retcon history.
yeah, yeah.
You can't retcon
And
history.
and that was
It's
what,
already
yeah, and
there.
that was some of the drawl of the difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty, because Battlefield has kind of set itself up as being one that tries to aim a little bit more towards realism, and they just
That's right.
kind of threw that into the dust. So, and like I
I mean,
said, and like I said,
it,
you don't have to be upset about well, they changed history, blah blah blah. You don't have to be upset about that, but I do feel that the response of you don't like it, don't buy it was the most tone deaf thing they could have done. That was EA's version of what would later be Activision's. Oh, you guys don't have phones? Like
Well,
just
also there was also the fact that a lot of the maps were just super unbalanced.
mm,
Like where you could when you spawn in like 10 seconds later, if you had tanks, well they're gone now because for some reason you can instantly destroy everything on the field in a few seconds.
yeah,
Or um, just so many weird things going on in the game that just don't make sense.
yeah.
Uh, but then again, a lot of cool features that if it wasn't for all the other nonsense going on, I would love to have played.
Oh yeah.
But then you have the stupid maps. You can't rotate the maps. You can't have your own server yet. I think they
Mm-hmm.
might have changed that recently after being out for almost 8 months.
Yeah.
Um,
And the fact
half
that
the modes weren't there until recently, like a month ago.
yeah, the fact is they dropped the ball also with the release and everything else. They blinked, which they probably shouldn't have done. It was just so many mistakes, and EA was looking like it was going to be that company that was going to fall to the wayside. That if any of the AAA companies was going to die, it might be EA, and we were all hoping for that. And then, out of the clear blue sky, a developer that's been under them for a while releases a game that they didn't allow any press or any knowledge to be known that they were making it. Just release it cold, a free-to-play game, and it's actually challenging Fortnite.
Yeah, but also from what I heard, again, I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong.
Yeah,
I'd be happy to be told I was wrong. What I was initially told was they didn't tell anyone, even EA, that they were going to drop this. They were that they had
yeah.
this project in play that they were working on. They didn't tell anyone they were working on it. They told EA that they were working on something for like technical universe,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just said it's done and dropped it.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
barely even told EA. I think they just probably told them and then dropped it right
yeah.
afterwards.
I know that the information on it was limited because they didn't want it leaked. Because they knew, and some people said like it's because people are going to hear about their economy, the in-game economy, and they're going to get turned off to it, which is true. But I mean, it's
It's
also a
not much.
free-to-play game, so
I've played it. It's great.
oh yeah, that's what I keep hearing. That's what I keep hearing, and this is probably going to be the lifeboat that carries EA through what is probably going to be the inevitable closing of BioWare. Because, like I said, Anthem can do well.
After
Anthem
after
can,
Battlefront.
yeah. Anthem can do well. Okay, Anthem can do well, but it's not going to do investor well. It's not going to be enough because it's just not because EA keeps telling their investors higher and higher numbers because they think that's what they want to hear, and what they really need to do is to scale back and take the hit, but they don't want to do that because they're worried. Sorry, I'm getting really
Yes.
bad. But anyway,
Yes. Higher and higher.
mm-hmm.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what Activision Blizzard just did. Higher until they fire
Well,
8% of their company.
that's that's another topic. First, that I'll get to that in a second here. So I would
Okay.
say that as far as moving forward is, as long as EA has Apex Legends, they're not going to. They're going to be okay. Like I said, I think BioWare is going to release Anthem. It's not going to do as well as they wanted, or not as well as they projected. They're going to release their next Dragon Age game, which they've already talked about, and there is already negative hype on it because of the planned DLC. Well, no, because of the planned story. Basically, someone went out and said, "Oh no, Dragon Age has always been about inclusion."
Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
no.
What do you mean by that?
Well, see, here's the thing.
That's yeah.
I don't have a lot of experience with the Dragon Age game series. Okay, I played maybe 10 hours of the first one and got bored because it's not my kind of game. No, it's okay if it's your game, but it's not for me. I can tell you up front right now, Dragon Age is not a game about inclusion. There was racism against elves. There was all kinds of other crazy things.
Yeah.
So,
Slavery.
if you ruin, and this is the thing I think people need to understand, okay? Nobody has a problem with diversity and inclusion, okay? But what we do have a problem with, what gamers, and I think the millennial generation and Generation Z, we are generations that have been marketed to all of our lives, and we see right through the fake crap. And that's what this is. It's fake. It's not. We don't care if you do it. Like Apex Legends has so much diversity in it. It has like 25% of the playable characters are non-cis conforming gender, whatever.
Yeah, they did
Nobody
that
cares.
to just they. No, the game is good.
Yes,
Nobody
yes.
cared.
Nobody
Nobody needed
cares.
to have it.
But you know what's really sad is,
They added it afterwards too, just to go. Oh, by the way,
yeah. It's
we're
almost,
inclusive.
it's
Like, they
almost
don't
like
care. It's
it's
good.
almost like the studio behind Apex Legends knows the current climate, knows what they're supposed to say, but also knows how it goes over. And they did everything. They seriously dropped everything about as perfectly as they could. It's a master stroke, and I know that EA will eventually get in and wreck them, like they do with everything. But as long as EA can preserve these guys, EA's got a good future ahead of them. Now, so I would say that
EA will always have a future
yes,
because it's EA.
they're going to survive this round, but I think there's going to be a game company that's not going to survive. To talk about a different AAA company, I think Ubisoft still has a lot of IPs. They still do a lot of different things, and I don't see them falling either.
Well, that's Ubisoft.
Yeah, like I don't play.
Ubisoft is a weird. They do have a lot of IPs, and a lot of IPs we haven't seen in years. Like I'm gonna look here real quick, see what kind of IPs they have had. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like they're the masters of throwing out yearly games and getting at least a marginal return on them, to the point where they feel like they can keep doing that. They're the shillers of cheap crap.
Yeah, bottom dollar kind of games here.
I mean, not bottom dollar. I mean, they've got Assassin's Creed. I think they're the ones running Watch Dogs and all that other stuff.
Watch Dogs was bad.
Yeah.
That's only recent. I mean, they had older IPs. Like they had Ghost Recon, which
Mm-hmm.
what is it?
Aren't they putting out The Division as well? Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean,
they're doing Division 2. I have heard bad things about that.
yeah.
That's basically Division 1, just
The thing is that
sponges.
the reason I think Ubisoft is going to make it through is because all of their eggs aren't in one basket. I mean, they have a lot of IPs that they play with, and they screw up. But as long as one of them hits, they put out enough games a year, I think they'll be okay. The company I'm worried about the most is, of course, Activision.
I want Activision to fail. It has Blizzard on it. I want them to fail.
Yeah. I think they're going to fail.
They chose this route. Let them burn and fail because
Yes.
they chose. They went against the players. They were with the players for such a long time, and they sold their soul to Activision.
Yes.
They made their bed. They can lay in it.
Yeah, here comes the passion. Well, I agree with you. I think ultimately the problem with the Activision is, EA's got something they can fall back on. Ubisoft has diversified their library. Activision, they don't have anything good on the horizon. The next big thing they were banking on was the drop of Blackout mode in Black Ops, which was a battle royale. Which, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really think it was going to pull people away from Fortnite. And now with Apex out, I don't see them pulling anybody. Because this is not a free-to-play game. This is you got to pay $60 and then find out if you like this game mode or not.
If you're going to have microtransactions and loot boxes, which are soon going to be illegal, please. But if you're going to have these features that are going to nickel and dime a player for every single minor thing, aka Dungeon Keeper, then it should be a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to sell a game, sell the game.
Yeah.
Give me the game. Give me the entire game. If you have 10 DLCs, not the game.
Yeah.
I want the whole game. You might have one DLC. Like, perfect example of DLC is, of course, the ever popular, the ever famous Witcher. Witcher.
Oh my gosh.
DLCs.
I've heard about
Pay a little
those.
money.
Yeah.
It's basically a whole other game to play.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not one map. Look.
They used
Battlefield.
They used to be called expansion packs.
The old Battlefields, like Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3, the DLC expansions were a map.
Yeah.
Or, a new skin for a gun. Like,
yeah.
what?
Well, now
I gotta pay
that falls in
$40 for
microtransactions
that?
now, but Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, now it's all microtransactions, and then like some people still have
and
DLC
DLC and season passes and everything else. See,
and loot boxes.
but anyway, back on topic. I feel like Activision has no way forward. Okay, right now, World of Warcraft is falling apart. Okay, um,
Oh
they've lost this boat on the narrative, and we'll go into that another time. Um, because
that's a whole nother
that's
video.
a rabbit hole and a half, and I don't have the voice for it. Because I will get passionate there. They aren't doing anything. I have no doubt that Diablo Immortal will probably do well in China, which
That's
is
where they're gonna get all their money.
which is
So
where they want to make their money. I think that will do okay. Um, I think, and as for the next Call of Duty, it's gonna be hit or miss depending on if EA drops the ball or not. Because if EA hadn't dropped the ball, Call of Duty might not be doing as well as it did, even though
every
it
Call
didn't
of
do
Duty,
enough.
every Call of Duty is the same.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, the last Call of Duty is
yeah.
different only
Absolutely.
because there's no single player.
Yeah.
All of the single players of Call of Duty is the exact same storyline, but different characters in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
But they're almost all exactly the same.
Yeah. And the thing is after a while, people get tired of that, and then you get to their other properties.
After a while, look at EA Sports.
Oh,
It's always the
I know.
same.
Well, but not everyone is forgiving as sports fans. So, because they'll curse their team one year and still be cheering for them later. So it's yeah. But look at their other IPs from Activision. Overwatch is on the decline right now, like because they're losing players to Fortnite. They're losing players now to Apex Legends, and they're going to keep losing them because that's what happens when you make a game with literally one game mode in it.
There's literally no progression in Overwatch.
No.
Oh look, I gained a level. I get a loot box.
See,
It's shit.
yeah, and the reason that Overwatch I think is ultimately failing is, I think it's very telling in the difference between the fan reaction from the Apex Legend announce of, hey, a quarter of our cast are gay, as to, hey, Soldier 76 is gay. You know what the differences in the reaction was? Nothing, because nobody cared. And here's the thing, Overwatch has been out for longer. People should be invested into these characters, and they're not.
Yeah.
The whole reason I stopped playing League of Legends was because when I got in, I was like, oh, look at all these cool characters. I'm reading their little blurps, and sometimes if you were lucky, a blurb from a new character would intertwine with another one, and it was so cool. And then after a while, I realized they're never doing anything with these characters, are they?
That's actually why I personally liked Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
They did that.
Yeah, I mean, but we already knew these characters. That's one of the reasons I jumped to Heroes of the Storm. But then they never did anything with it. Yes, they made a comic book, but how do you make a comic book that's supposed to have characters from across all your different worlds, all meeting together in one? How do you make it boring? It had a few tight moments. It had a few really good moments, but those moments, I mean, they were between characters I knew nothing about before that moment, and it was a sad predicament for them. But it was no different than hearing about someone I didn't know having some family crisis, something bad happening. Okay, that was the level of empathy I had, because they didn't focus on the things you need. Look, if you're gonna make a game that has freaking Raynor from StarCraft, Barbarian from Diablo, and Thrall from Warcraft meeting and talking together, why aren't they talking? Why aren't they sharing beer and sharing stories? Why isn't Kerrigan and the Banshee Queen, Sylvanas, off somewhere plotting something evil together? That's why we got into it, but they didn't do it. They're making the same mistakes. Blizzard used to tell the best stories, and they don't tell stories anymore.
And they had the best platform to do
Yes.
that. They had Heroes of the Storm.
Yes.
They could easily put like a little novelization in Heroes of the Storm where you could have just a picture and a small little paragraph of what's going on with the background.
And
or
that's the
picture,
key.
paragraphs.
In the game, these Overwatch trailers, they look so cool. They give you this little clip, but they never give you more. And it's no different than the League of Legends trailers. It's like, oh, this looks so cool, but none of what you see in those trailers happens in the game. And this is the same with the Overwatch stuff. None of it happens in the game. What they needed And do I think that a single player mode in Overwatch would expand its life? Yes and no. I think it would have gotten more engagement early on, and people would have stuck around for probably a little bit longer because they were invested in the characters.
Yeah.
But then it would have opened the door for, hey, we're going to put out Overwatch 2 later, and we're going to continue this story, and people would be hyped about that. People would come back for it, and you
But
get to sell them at
yeah.
that $60 price tag a second time.
Even that is
Plus
messed
the
up because
plus the
all these loot
cosmetics and all that
boxes.
crap.
It's all this is cosmetics and it's loot boxes.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
that's the only thing going
See,
on with Overwatch.
and,
It's sad.
and here's the
But
thing.
then you
Here's the
have
thing. I will for just a split second defend the Overwatch model in that if they wanted to maximize profits and take care of their players, the cosmetics, the new skins and all stuff, that would be the little microtransactions you put in there to tie your player base over until the next one comes out.
it would have been actually better
Yeah.
because they have so many skins and little tiny little things for everything. If they did the same thing for Heroes of the Storm, where each character levels up and each character gets a
Oh
loot
yeah,
box
but
and maybe a free little skin here or a free little doodad
yeah,
here.
I'm gonna
Whatever it
correct
is.
you. It's not a lot of skins and stuff like that in the loot boxes. It's sprays and other crap like that that nobody
You know
cares
what I mean.
about to
You know
pad
what
them
I mean?
out so you can't
Yeah,
get the good things.
but each character in Heroes of the Storm
Yeah,
levels up and gets you a loot box.
yeah. Well, I
But
mean,
as in Overwatch, it's you one account. That has to level up to
yeah,
get one loot box.
yeah. They've buried, but
With
anyway.
duplicates.
But anyway, Here's the storm. Sorry, Here's the Storm. They buried that. Overwatch
They
going
killed it.
downhill. Hearthstone. They're thinking there's clear movements for them pulling completely out of the major league play for that. StarCraft is in maintenance mode. Diablo 3 is in maintenance mode.
No, they're burning Diablo right now
Yeah.
thanks to
Yeah,
Immortal.
the Immortal. Yeah, I still know people who play Diablo 3 because
I played Diablo 3 just a few months ago. Like,
Yeah,
a few months ago.
yeah.
Still.
I know people that play it for the seasons because they love grinding. Okay, like my brother-in-law
too.
loves grinding, but I'm not into it. It's not my
I
thing.
tried for a little while. I just had some friends who were playing it. I played it, and then it's like, I'm bored with this. I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every time. It's like there's no real substance going on.
Yeah, so with the exception of Diablo Immortal, there's nothing from the Blizzard side of Activision Blizzard. From Activision side, it's COD or bust. That's really all they make anymore. They make Call of Duty, and that's it. And here's the thing. Their recent success has been based on the failures of the other companies. If EA picks up their game a little bit, just a little, not much, just a little, and puts out a decent Battlefield game next year, Call of Duty might not sell. And while I expect Diablo Immortal to sell well in China, what if it doesn't? They've got all of their eggs in one basket. Now, there's clear moves here because when they did their mass layoffs and firings, they didn't touch the dev teams. In fact, I think they're trying to expand them. Because
Even then,
they're banking on their next wave of games to make them.
when you have two CFOs, one CFO for Activision, one CFO for Blizzard, seeing these are the people in charge of all the money. These people are in charge of all the money. They know what's going on in these two companies.
I know.
If they say, "Oh yeah, we're getting like $10 million, $15 million paychecks," yeah, I'm gonna leave because we know what's going to go happen. We know what's going to happen.
Yeah. See,
And then they get a new guy, a brand new guy. I don't know where the hell this guy came from. And they're paying him $15 million. Then they claim they have record successes. And then they fire 800 people.
yeah, they fired 800 people to appease their stockholders because this is how they get their stockholders more money in the most, morally reprehensible way possible. And like I said, okay, Activision is banking on their next wave of games, which won't be out till 2020. Okay, 2019 is a holdover year for them. They need Diablo Immortal to make bank. In China.
In China, yeah.
Yeah, they needed to make bank in China. they need
The game's already done.
yeah, they
So
need
all
Call of
this is
Duty to
releasing
be
it.
a moderate success. They cannot afford to crap the bed like EA did with Battlefield, okay? Because they don't have
Well,
they don't have any goodwill.
they lost all. They
Yeah.
know they used to have all the goodwill
Oh, I
because they were
know.
part of Blizzard,
They've
but
burned it all. Okay.
they burned that bridge.
And this
All
is
the
why, and
bridges.
this is like between this and with their CFOs all leaving and people trying to like they're abandoning ship. And there's just recent layoffs, which is gonna hurt. Just gonna hurt their image so bad. I don't think they realize what they've done. If
It's not
Diablo
only that, but
Immortal,
it's
yeah,
also claiming that
yeah,
they've done so well. We're
hmm
doing
hmm
great. It's never been better.
yeah. But again, the average player, the average game buyer doesn't follow this stuff. So here's where it really comes down to: if they crap
Well,
the
they do see
bed
it in
with
the game.
COD, I mean, if they do something really stupid, they pull if they pull a freaking Fallout 76 with COD,
Oh God, that was
yeah,
a disaster.
if they pull a if for whatever reason the Chinese market doesn't care for Diablo Immortal, they're in a lot of trouble. They may not make it to their next wave of games. Um, yeah, I mean,
Just
and
actually, just looking
mm-hmm,
at it all, it just it looks as if every single game developer.
mm-hmm,
Well, sorry, not every single one. Take that back.
mm-hmm.
Like most game developers have just completely and utterly lost touch with reality.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was the big, and that's the thing I think a lot of people missed. Okay, everyone's like, oh, why are you crying because Diablo Immortal's on a platform you don't like? Oh, you man, baby. No, you don't understand. Blizzard existed as a company that was an image. Okay, Blizzard had always been the good guy company. They'd always taken care of their players, and now over recent years they have lost
Moderate.
that. Okay, and some people still clung to that because they wanted to believe it. I was more cynical. I knew that Blizzard wasn't that company, but I knew that they were still trying to maintain the image, so I had faith their efforts to want to maintain that image would cause them to at least put out mediocre to okay games, okay? The day they stood up on stage and expected everyone to be excited for Diablo Immortal, in
Looking at
front,
his face.
yeah,
Oh my
at
God.
a convention that they put together for PC gamers by PC gamers, and they trot out a mobile game thinking it was going to be a big hit. It was their presentation. They thought everyone was going to be excited. This was what they closed the opening ceremony with. And at that moment, the whole crowd goes quiet. Why? Because the illusion was gone. We could no longer pretend that they at least
Mhm.
understood us, that they at least cared enough to understand us. I mean, again, I'm about as capitalist as you can get, so I don't care particularly about certain things that some people do. But when it comes to, like, we wanted to believe that Blizzard would at least, due to their own self-interest, at least attempt to keep their finger on the pulse of the players, so they wouldn't completely screw it up. Because they've made some bad releases, nothing like this. I think the thing would ultimately kill Blizzard entirely is if they have their own Fallout 76 moment, where Activision forces them to push something out too quickly, and it comes out broken.
Isn't that
You know,
essentially
this,
immoral
this
right now?
no, well, no, not yet. No, 'cause it
Oh,
hasn't been
wait
released.
till they
Yeah,
come out with Diablo 4.
yeah.
Diablo 4
That
is gonna be
that's
Fallout 76.
that's
So yeah.
honestly what I'm worried about. If they push Diablo 4 out because they're afraid and they push it too quickly, it could come out broken. And this is from the company that we used to go, oh no, they've delayed the game again. But they would always say, we'll release it when it's ready. If they break that covenant, they break that one thing with us, because they've already broken their other stuff. If they break this, the illusion is completely gone for Blizzard, and at that point, who's gonna buy Blizzard day one anymore? Other than the absolute diehards, other than the esports that they were so intent on buying up and taking it. I think that's the whole reason Activision wanted to join with Blizzard in the first place, because they saw Blizzard and they saw esports, and they
Yeah.
misunderstood what Blizzard was. And because of that misunderstanding, they have forced Blizzard into a role they're not good at.
Yeah, and if you look at it, no matter what we're going to do, no matter what anyone says, no matter anyone does, you're always going to find people, always going to have people who will buy every single Battlefield,
Mm-hmm.
every single Call of Duty,
Mm-hmm.
every single expansion to WoW,
Yeah.
even if it's bad,
Yeah.
every single
Well, I mean, that's the thing
any
with WoW.
sports game, all the sports games you're gonna buy. This going
Yeah.
to buy. People are just going to buy them because I have to have it,
Yeah.
even knowing it's the same old shit,
Mm-hmm.
new filters.
And I mean, we could go in. I don't want to go too far into the WoW rabbit hole here, but I mean, from a narrative standpoint, they've written themselves into a corner, and I mean, it's to the point where it's like, okay, you need to either, like, if you make another expansion, it needs to be the last, so that the game can end well, and then can you please time skip like 20 years and start a new era of the game because it's getting freaking old. Because
They can go 100 years.
I know, right? Like, something needs to change in WoW because everything feels stale, everything feels done. I think I know where they were going with Sylvanas. I think they just told the story poorly. And yeah, I mean, and that's my reason I think Activision's going to be the company that might fall during this when the bubble bursts, because Activision doesn't have anywhere to go.
No, they're basically subsiding on just the one game.
Yeah, yeah. EA can still has enough money to buy up developers and keep doing what they've always been doing.
Yeah, asset
Ubisoft,
flip or developer flip.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ubisoft still has enough titles, still has enough, like, they still have their fingers in enough pies that if half the industry collapses, they have a fairly good chance at sticking it out. I mean, I think it's a toss-up between them and EA as to who has better standings right now, and the only reason that's changed is because of Apex Legends. But Activision,
Again, it's weird. It's so weird
yeah,
to think positively of EA.
I know, and
It's wrong.
Activision,
It feels
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. Whereas Activision, if things don't go right for them, they don't really have a fallback plan. And that's why I think like Activision, out of all of them, is the most likely to collapse in on itself.
Well, EA, Blizzard's already dead. It's a zombie in its
Yeah.
former self.
Again, that's why I primarily refer to them as just Activision now, because that's what they are. I still play Heroes of the Storm. I know it's supposed to be dead, but I enjoy the game, or I try to enjoy the game. And
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that the theory that's been bumped around by a few people, that the core people have been left in Heroes of the Storm, the people that believed in it, and because now that I'm sorry, slip of the tongue there, now that Activision doesn't care about it, as long as they stay in the black, they're fine. I mean, they recently released their patch notes for the game, and everything in the game is now purchasable with some form of in-game currency.
Great.
Everything, with the only exception are the boosts, or the experience boosts. That's it.
I think that's fine.
I think that's fine. It's fair. Hold on. I'm actually pulling it up right now. Scroll past the heroes, blah blah, collections, yes. All skins and mounts in the collection are now available for purchase with gems or crafting shards. See, yeah, shards still take a ton of time to build up, though. Season passes are limited. Seasonal and limited time offers are purchasable with craftable with gems and shards. Yeah, they've basically allowed everything to be purchased with shards again. Gems are the in-game, are the I bought this with money currency, although you can earn it slowly in the game when you hit certain milestones. And coins are your partner. Yes.
The fact they allow you to even try to get it, and it's there. You can get it. You can get it. It's there. But in all these other games, it's not.
Yes. The only thing that there were some gold exclusive things, which gold is your regular in-game currency. There's 3 currencies. Try to keep up, I know. Those are still gold only. Yeah, those are still gold only because, hey, they were already in-game purchasable. But yeah, I can't pronounce words right now because of my voice, but...
So I just want to move us along a little bit.
Yeah.
Going over to Anthem, EA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just want to touch on that because...
That just looks like a minefield.
It might be okay. I played the alpha demo before the actual demo they had for one weekend for everyone to look at it and go, ooh, ah. In the alpha demo, it was shit. I mean, it was legit bad. it was designed as if it was only designed for console, which
Mm-hmm.
not always a bad thing. But
No.
if you're a PC player,
If
like
you're
it's
gonna
bad.
release it on PC, make sure it's playable on PC. Thanks.
Like the entire map layout, how you access everything in the game is optimized for a controller.
Mm-hmm.
If I have my mouse hovering over something, it's balancing between two things.
Yeah.
Why? If I click on it, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
See, and at that point, I would just say play it with a controller because you can
Well,
plug well, you can plug an
let me
Xbox controller into your computer and it will
let me continue. It
map
gets
it.
worse. It
But
gets
yeah,
worse because when you do the double jump to fly, like you had to double jump to fly, kind of thing.
yeah,
You bounce up and you start flying. When you fly, you try to aim. Like if I want to go right, I start going right. It goes maybe an inch or centimeter, slowly turning to the right, and I'm just going there scrolling, trying to get to moving my mouse forward, get to the right, get to the right. And all of a sudden,
yeah,
I'm now on my left because it just decided to go do a 180 suddenly.
yeah, yeah,
Now I'm flying around like a mad, like I'm crazy,
yeah.
and then I run out of
Mm.
power and or overheat and I fall down.
Clunk.
Flying is pointless. Everything's a meat shield. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
same thing as a division. You can keep shooting in the head a million times, and then only after half an hour does
yeah.
it die.
And people have been complaining about that, the bullet sponge stuff.
Bullet sponge
Yeah.
nonsense. I
See,
mean, in the division, if you have a gun and you shoot something in the head, unless it's like a metal case over its head, it's going to die.
yeah.
Not after a million rounds, or after maybe one.
So
Maybe
okay,
one.
okay. They've clear. I mean, with with Anthem and all that stuff, like I think its launch is gonna be good, but I think the engagement rate's gonna go through the floor.
The market they have, unless they drastically show something different. Like
Yeah.
what the picture they showed, if that was
Yeah.
like a gimmick to
Oh, it's a
make it go,
gimmick.
oh no, it's not that, it's not that. It's actually like that's
Oh,
like a tenth of that.
yeah,
It's still a market.
yeah. And we all know what happened with Destiny. Bungie
Yeah.
jump Bungie leaving, and like apparently as soon as the announcement was made, they were like people at Bungie were clapping. Like there was a party basically. So I mean, like
I know people got upset about that because like, no, they're the ones with the contract for Diablo Immortal. How dare you be happy they left? I'm like, they left. They no longer have a contract. They're no longer part of that.
mm-hmm.
Yay!
Yeah.
This is a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but like I said, I think it's gonna get the initial engagement, but I think ultimately, as has it diversified itself enough from Destiny. Yeah, I know it's
Not quite.
different, but it's like at the same time, it's like if that wasn't your cup of tea, is this gonna be your cup of tea? Is this gonna pull new people in? Is this gonna pull all the players away from Destiny, which Bungie's probably just gonna pull away from because I don't think they want to remember their time with Activision. So I'm not really convinced that Anthem, like I said, I think Anthem will do well initially, but what they're really hoping is for those microtransactions. And when people start dropping off and leaving, I don't think they're gonna keep them. But like I said, EA now has Apex Legends to fall back on. So who's the
Yeah.
golden child of EA going to be?
Yeah.
Not BioWare anymore, that's for sure.
Especially when you have a full dollar price for a game. Oh, I'm sorry. Full base price.
For
Not
the game,
including
yes.
the gold edition or the platinum edition or the extra secret battle master
Remember
edition
when
or
pre-orders were awesome? You remember when you'd pre-order a game, typically a Blizzard game,
that was a long time ago.
and you'd be like so excited. I remember pre-ordering Command and Conquer 3 and owning it for
Oh, don't remind me. Oh God,
owning
no.
it for almost a year and not being able to play it because I didn't have a computer, but I wanted the pre-order.
You just reminded me of Command and Conquer 4 and that disaster of a game.
I'm sorry, what? That did
Right,
not
it doesn't
happen.
exist.
Yes. I do believe Kane has told us that we are not to mention it or even consider it to be canon in the name of Kane.
The name of Kane.
Yes. So, that needs to be a thing.
Fine.
That needs to be a
we,
thing.
It does.
Um,
If put a T-shirt in the name of Kane. Anyway,
Yes.
Well, another game I was going to touch on. I'm not sure if you've actually played. I don't know, but love MechWarrior,
Mm-hmm.
so I have played MechWarrior online,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm probably gonna get some shit for this, but oh well. MechWarrior Online is a fun game.
Okay.
MechWarrior Online is also a shit game. The microtransaction in MechWarrior Online might make EA blush.
Ooh. That's
Now
right.
Let me go ahead and just bring up an example because it's actually on Steam, or part of it is on Steam. I'm not sure if the whole thing is still even on Steam. Go to the store here. So, if you go to the store, you can buy almost all the mechs, and they make it appealing. Like, oh wow, I really want this.
Yeah.
Like, give an example. There's a Kodiak. Okay, how much is a Kodiak? Oh look, it's $20 for one, $40 for the full pack. Oh look, all these other micro additions you add to it, $15 each. That's just for one mech,
Oh
one style
my
mech,
heavens. Wow.
and you can't get these. Well, technically, you can get these in the game
Oh, of course
if
you
you play
can.
for about a month. No, that's for me. So I'm not going to take 8 hours every day playing the same mech 8 hours every day, trying to slowly move up from a
But
small mech up to a normal mech.
Nick.
Yeah,
We want
but
our players to feel like they have a sense of accomplishment. You need to feel like you've earned it.
and there are people out there who are going to say, "Well, they need their money. They need to make money somehow." They have
They
paid
sold you the
their
game.
money.
They
This is a
sold
free to
you
play game.
Oh, okay.
Free to start game.
Still,
Like right here.
that's
Here. Here's a mech right here. Mech. It's called Corsair. Ultimate Corsair. $70.
Jeez.
70.
Jeez.
They give you a lot of stuff for the one mech,
But
and they are all. They have cockpit items,
I mean,
which are
we usually
expendable.
give a free pass for microtransactions and free-to-play games. This is not a microtransaction. That is a deluxe edition, gold edition of some game. Okay, right there for one mech. That is ridiculous.
And to be fair, I was going off one of the newer ones, one of the more expensive
But
newer ones. But
still,
even still,
the
that's
fact
just
that it
ridiculous.
exists, and back to that EA store, the Anthem Store League. That was to test the waters. That was to see what they could get away with. That was so that when they release them at $10, they can look like the good guys. It's basic marketing 101.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, and then there are people out there who want to defend them so badly that they'll do that, and then they'll say, "Oh no, see, they were never gonna do that." It's like the people that apologized, for Microsoft after the Xbox One announcement. Oh, see, they rolled everything back, like, but the fact that they were doing it anyway, the fact that they were gonna put us through this anyhow, yeah. They wanted a camera that's always on in the house. We said no to that, but we said yes to Alexa.
Yeah, and also,
Gosh.
it was a small controversy of the Wii U, not the Wii U, but the Wii,
Yeah.
where the infrared sensor was a full on camera sensor, as in it could actually watch you.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm just gonna be honest here, okay? Any other company, I'd be up in arms. It's Nintendo. If they said they were doing it solely for player data or to figure out how people moved or something like that in their games, I would actually believe them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie either.
I mean,
So
I would actually want to believe them. We'll say that.
when it comes to Nintendo's practices are weird.
Yes.
On one part, everyone loves Nintendo,
Oh my, yeah.
and their games, Pokemon games will always hold their value
Oh, yeah.
or increase
Oh
in
my
value.
gosh. Yeah.
But Nintendo, when you have the boss of Nintendo or the CEO of Nintendo who will take a pay cut to help his employees because the
Yeah.
console didn't sell very, very well,
Yeah.
you can do nothing but applaud that.
It's Japan. They have a completely different set of values, so like that. Like,
But
for them, when a company is doing poor, like I heard about, like, their economy took a slump, and they had to do layoffs, and like actual like higher ups executives were throwing themselves out of were like committing suicide over it because they didn't want to fire anyone. They didn't want to do that. It's a completely different culture over there when it comes to that kind of stuff.
That may be true, but also at the exact same point, I have to say this because it's true. Until recently, which again, thank you Nintendo for not being assholes, but until recently, you had to be part of their super special club to post anything, or become a strike, and they had a lot of lawyers for that.
Oh, I know,
a lot.
I know. And I'm guessing somebody from Nintendo of America finally got through to them, got them to understand what was going on, because they finally stopped. And I mean, that was like the area they were really bad in, and now it's like, okay, we'll wait and see how they will turn out.
There's one more area they're really bad in. There's one more area I think they're really bad in.
What's that?
If you talk about IPs, there's no one out in the entire world who could even compete against Nintendo when it comes to IPs.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
They have all of these amazing games.
How in the world?
And they won't let anyone play them. Okay, I take it back. You can play them. $5 each.
Yeah, I know.
For a game from 1980?
Yeah.
1970? No. That's bullshit.
No.
Granted, actually, I want to say this real quick. If you have a Switch,
you
can actually pay for the year-long sub. It's like what, $50 or whatever. Actually, I'll check that again. I think maybe $15. And they're opening up this where you can actually play older Nintendo games on Switch. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't. It feels like Nintendo is naive. It feels like they make these decisions because they don't understand any better. The same can be said of Konami. Hey, Konami, just release your games on like Steam or something, your older ones, and people will buy them up in swarms and make you so much money. No. Like, again, it's a different culture in Japan, and I don't think they understand. I don't quite understand American marketing. And like I said, I think like with Nintendo dropping their whole creators program, I think it's a step in the right direction. But they still have a long way to go.
No, I think they do know what they're doing because they came out with that NES Classic. That
they botched that. They botched it still.
That was intentional. I guarantee you that was intentional. Oh, we didn't expect people to actually want this. Bullshit. You knew precisely people would want this.
So
and
why?
You intentionally made it a scarcity.
But why?
You don't know how to make them.
To what end?
What?
To what end, though? I seriously think they're just naive. Because there's unless they hate money, there is no reason for them to do that. I just don't think they understand it.
If they were so naive, there's a simple solution. Make more. Did they? No.
Because they don't understand. But for what purpose? Because I don't think they understand what they have.
They do.
I don't.
No, they understand what they have. They just are incompetent. They are purely incompetent.
I don't know. I don't even feel like that's quite enough of an answer.
I would pay them $100 to have their games for the past 20 years. Not the newest games. Not the games in the last 5 years. The games in the older games.
Yeah.
I'll pay $100 right now. Here, done.
You guys have
NES, SNES.
So much
maybe Super
stuff.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
64. I'm good. 64. I'm good.
I think it's agreed that they're the kings of sitting on IPs, followed closely by EA. Like.
No, I would say followed close by Konami.
Yeah, probably Konami. Yeah, like. It's
EA is after that.
Yeah, like.
But EA is as bad. Holy shit. I mean, I know I'm not going to talk, but they had the Dungeon Keeper, which.
Yeah.
What were they even thinking? Oh, you were able to do one task.
I know you've been sitting on this one for a while, so.
Be able to do one task today. Do you want to complete that one task so you can do another task? Pay us $5, $1? Even $1 is too much. They didn't even put it on a PC. They knew they couldn't. They put it on mobile. No one is going to take away. Did you ever play Dungeon Keeper?
Yes. Yeah,
so your little minions, they would go mine one block.
I know that, and I know what they did with Dungeon Keeper Mobile. Yeah, where a block that in the original Dungeon Keeper games took you 5 seconds. it now
or less.
takes, yeah, if you put more on it too, yeah. And instead it takes a day. But if you want to go faster, purchase our in-game currency.
For one block at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they did the
One,
same thing essentially for
yeah.
Command and
And when
Conquer.
your rooms are supposed to be like, 5x5 or 3x3 minimum, yeah, you're looking at a couple of weeks before anything gets done. Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest when it comes to the Command and Conquer mobile game. I know only of its existence and the little clips from the trailer. And honestly, I feel like that was eclipsed. Really, I feel like that was eclipsed. Um,
But
no, no,
you
I
saw the
no,
you saw the article where they said that they were surprised that Dungeon Keeper and Command and Conquer didn't do very well.
yeah,
They were surprised that the mobile versions of these two games that were
yeah,
classics on
yeah.
on PC didn't do very well.
Because the fan base, the people that you're trying to pander to, don't want that. Okay, we've watched enough Michael Bay movies to know where this is going. Okay, we
Okay.
freaking know. We know what's going on. You're just going, like, we know what a cash grab looks like, okay? And the thing is, as poorly as received as Command and Conquer Mobile was, or Rivals, as I think it was called, as poorly received as that, and then Blizzard at BlizzCon on their main stage as the final reveal for their opening show, they are shocked when players aren't interested in another mobile port of a game people loved. Mind you, a superior crafted one. I will give them that. But they're surprised. It's like, and that's really why, again, the problem with that moment was everybody knew they were out of touch. Because the fact that they would do that after EA, the king of screw up companies, made this mistake earlier in the year, they went ahead and made the same mistake.
Yeah, I mean, even when they did that, was E3 or whatever the thing is for EA, they spent like 15 minutes showing off Command and Conquer Rivals,
Mm-hmm.
thinking it's the best thing they ever made. They didn't. They are so out of touch.
Oh yeah.
It is not even funny.
Oh yeah.
It's just sad.
It is. It is. And yeah. So there really isn't much to. Yeah. They just don't get it. Okay. And like I said, EA is ignorant, but they know that their player base is more ignorant, and so they'll take advantage of that.
They know the player base will
Yeah.
want to buy.
Yeah.
They want to play the game. They want to play games.
Yeah.
So they will buy the games that everyone else is playing. Well,
Mhm.
everyone else is going to play this game. I want to play it too.
Yeah.
Oh, that trailer looks so amazing. I want to play it.
Yeah.
Wow, this game is actually kind of shit.
Yeah, and they know that the Madden people will always come back. So, and the FIFA people, they'll always come back.
And Ghost Recon,
Yeah, so they don't worry about that.
Tom
You know,
Clancy.
Ubisoft, they can fall back on their other things, their other their other IPs and stuff like that, and they'll crap out their yearly games. And if it's not so good, oh well, we're making another one next year. So, like, they will cut their losses and keep going. Activision, on the other hand, not so much. But yeah, so that's kind of where
I want to see what
back to the
they're gonna try
beginning.
to do.
I don't feel like Activision has a path forward if things go south, and they might. So, all right, I think to close up, we talked about this. What is something, because we're going to end up talking about a lot of things are negative, okay? This podcast is called The Retcon-ing, for heaven's sakes, okay? So we're obviously taking a very cynical look at games and other forms of entertainment. So I wanted to close it out with something positive. Nick, what is something positive or something that you've seen within the game industry recently that makes you smile? Maybe it's a game or something, I don't know.
I want to say a game,
Mhm.
because there's a game that came out recently, which it's not done. It
Mhm.
is not complete. But they have gained so much goodwill. And they've done this. They did this before last year. Subnautica. Subnautica Below Zero came out just
Okay.
last month. I've been playing it. I love it. It is not done, but it looks and feels amazing.
Okay. Wow. I have not actually heard of this one, so I'm going to have to look this one up. But, yeah. I mean, so can you describe what the game is a little bit?
My worst fear. open water, survive.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so the first one,
Okay, I think I have seen
yeah,
clips of this one.
it's a space science sci-fi one where
Okay.
there's a titan, there's a little, mm, sorry, it freaks me out each time. Leviathans.
Oh,
So you crash in a pod and you're underwater. The first game, and you're like, oh shit, where is everyone? Everyone's dead. Okay, or are they? And you have to get resources and everything to create everything while being while all these other creatures are around trying to
okay. So it's
go
kind
play
of a
just play it
survival
play
game,
it.
but yeah, a survival science game.
Science, not quite. It's more just a science scare the shit out of you, or
Oh,
underwater scare the shit out of you because the sounds that are made and it has real cycles of day and night. Well,
okay.
real for the planet. So it'd be daytime, you're swimming around. All of a sudden it's nighttime, you're swimming around. Everything starts glowing, and all of a sudden you hear something. Shit
Mm,
pants, run,
yeah, pretty
swim
much.
away.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. I would have to make mine, and I think it's a pretty obvious choice for me. I have been heavy into the game Grim Dawn. It's a couple of years old, but they're still making content for it. Um, I think around the time Diablo 3 came out, the first part, Reaper of Souls fixed a lot of problems. When Diablo 3 came out, a lot of people didn't feel like it felt like Diablo. Because I remember the first Diablo, going down, fighting through all the levels, getting to like the last level and realizing, I am not ready for this fight. So, new game blessing it, going back down to fight some of the earlier stuff again, kiting every creature one by one, pulling their different guards around Diablo, away from Diablo, so I could kill them individually, pulling Diablo, hoping I didn't pull anybody with him, and taking him down. And then Diablo
Classics.
2, so difficult, so much work to get to beating Diablo, dying so many times to him, to Mephisto, to Baal, finally getting through that one. Diablo 3, I don't think I died once on normal mode,
Yeah.
on normal difficulty.
Oh, normal? Oh no, it was impossible to die. Well, people could, but
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to die in
I think
normal.
maybe once. It was like to some sub boss, not to Diablo, not to anybody else. It just didn't feel right.
It felt slow.
Yeah, Grim
You have
Dawn.
to,
Yeah,
yeah, you have to turn to max difficulty.
Grim Dawn. Very different setting, but tonally speaking, it kind of matches. The first part of it has you going through these destroyed villages, trying to find the bad guy who didn't cause the grand event because basically something called the Grim Dawn had occurred, and the ethereals, these ethereal creatures, have come through and they're basically taking over, possessing people's bodies or using them to craft new flesh morph things that you have to fight. There's a good bit of horror in this, and I remember going through the laboratory, which is like the final stage of the first act, the first time, and it's just creepy in there.
So we both chose horror
Yeah,
esque
yeah.
games to say our
I mean,
best.
well, but then Act Two, it feels almost like a western in points, and then there's like parts of Act 3 where it kind of gets back to where it was before, and then you're fighting this cult that's not even associated to the ethereals. It's just their dark god. They're trying to bring him here, and in the chaos of the Grim Dawn, they're going to try to pull it off. And so you have to stop them from doing that terrible thing. And I first got it just to see what it was like. Ended up purchasing the expansion. They're working on another one. There's a multi-tiered class system. Yeah, there's a multi-tiered class system where you're basically dual classing. Every playthrough. So it's very very good. I don't have all of the DLC for the game because some of it doesn't interest me, but I will say that if you're looking for the game to replace that Diablo-shaped hole in your life, Grim Dawn might be for you. I know a lot of people have been going to Path of Exiles, and that's good for them if you enjoy that. Grim Dawn is the one I went with, and I quite enjoy it, and I highly recommend it. So,
Nice.
yeah, okay.
So look at that.
I think that should just about cover it. Hopefully, this will become a weekly thing. Um, If I'm lucky, I'll have this up by Saturday. So until next time, I don't know, keep it real. We don't have an outro yet because this is still the
Or
first
not.
one. Oh, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.